You can read any girl in 10 seconds. Words are optional. You text fast, you try to be nice, you explain yourself. Her eyes drift, your stomach tightens, control slips. Machiavelli taught that people judge by the eye before they know the truth. Read her eyes, micro-expressions, hands, space, and voice, or be steered by them. I will give you a field test to decode intention and shift the frame in silence. If you are tired of guessing, treat this as your turning point. Stay to the end. Welcome to Simplify Success. 1. The power of eye contact. The first thing she reads is not your words, it is your eyes. The moment your gaze asks for approval, the frame is gone. The stare that lingers too long signals hunger. A quick glance away signals fear. In 10 seconds, eye contact writes the contract of power. Most men sign it without knowing. Danielle is 34, product manager in Austin. Lunch hour in a crowded co-working kitchen. Stainless machines hum. People pass with paper cups. He chats with Ava from marketing about a launch. He tries to be open, to be kind, to be understood. His eyes lean in before his body does. Her gaze meets his, then slides past his shoulder to the door. She laughs at his joke, but the laugh arrives late and light. Her pupils skim the room and land on the espresso clock. Blink rate climbs. She shifts her weight back a half step. One hand wraps the other wrist as if pulling away from a touch that never came. He fills the silence because silence feels unsafe. He tells another detail. He clarifies. Her smile freezes. She says, "I should jump back to a call." He hears the words. What he misses is the verdict delivered by her eyes before the sentence. The moment he tried to prove he was safe, she decided he was easy. The silence in the steel room answers faster than any text. He thought steady eye contact would prove honesty. She read a quiet plea that he did not know he was sending. When was the last time her gaze slid past you mid-sentence? Be honest. I will show the 2 count that flips the frame. Machiavelli taught that people judge by the eye before they know the truth. Eye contact is not decoration, it is a power offer. The relaxed gaze sets the frame. The hungry gaze sells it. The rule is simple. Give presence without begging to be seen. See clearly without asking permission to belong. If your eyes negotiate, the price is already paid. In the theater of desire, the mask moves first. Learn to see the mask, or you will pay for your own fantasy. In the next moments, you will see the signal inside the eyes that tells you if she is engaged or managing you. He wants connection, so he leans in with his stare and fills every pause with more words. She wants assurance that he is grounded, so she tests and watches. When his pupils chase her attention, his words begin to chase too. She does not punish him, she classifies him. Warm when she needs comfort, dull when she wants edge. He believed intensity was strength. She reads calm as strength. The ones who hold a steady gaze without hunger set the tempo of the room. Here is the field move. When you meet her eyes, breathe once. Hold a steady 2 count. Let a soft smile reach your eyes, not your mouth. Break the gaze first and return to it with quiet focus. When you feel the itch to explain, pause and let the silence do its work. In 3 days of practice, the room will feel different. You will see her lean in, not to hear better, but to understand what you are not giving away. Up next is decoding micro-expressions. The blink you ignore. The half smile that never reaches the eyes. The eyebrow that tightens for a heartbeat. Skip what comes next, and you keep acting in someone else's fantasy instead of your own reality. 2. Decoding micro-expressions. The smile that hides a flinch tells the truth your ears never hear. In 10 seconds, her face chooses for you. The lips say kind things, while the muscles near the eyes vote no. What feels like chemistry is often a leak in the mask. The first betrayal is not in her words, it lives inside the fraction of a second where the body forgets to lie. Ethan is 37, a nurse in Boston. After a long shift, he meets Chloe at a diner near the hospital. The talk is easy. She asks about his schedule. He says he is ready for something serious. Her mouth lifts, yet a rigid line appears by the nose. For a blink, the eyes narrow, then smooth. The shoulders rise, then drop. She rests a palm on the phone face down. He keeps talking to prove he is safe. He says he deleted the apps. The smile holds, but the corners flatten. The eyes do not join. She says, "I like honest men," and scratches her nose. He leans in, she leans back a little. When he asks about next weekend, her eyelids tighten before she says, "Maybe." He ignores the flicker because the words are fine. She nods as the blink rate climbs. At the door, her face relaxes for the phone. The night ends early. He goes home and calls it normal. The verdict was early. The face ruled before the words. He thought talk builds trust. She decided at the first micro-slip. Next time her smile freezes for half a second, will you fill the silence? Or read it? If you dare, say flicker, and I will show you how to turn that tiny leak into leverage. One word is enough. Machiavelli taught that people act from appearance long before reason. Micro-expressions are seams in the mask. The true face leaks through the eyes and mouth corners. The law is cold. If you cannot see the leak, you will drink your fantasy. If you can see it, you gain time, and time becomes power. In the theater of desire, the face is a stage with bad curtains that move when the wind of truth pushes through. In 30 seconds, you will see how one tiny muscle gives away intent and how to simply turn that clue into a clean yes or a clean no. He wants certainty, so he reaches for it with words, and the face across from him answers with signals he has never learned to read. She wants grounded presence, so she tests it with small storms, and when his eyes chase and his stories multiply, she files him under comfort, not heat. He believed that emotional detail created intimacy, while she believed that calm timing created value, and the gap between those beliefs is where respect quietly dies. On your next date or meeting, say less for the first 10 seconds and watch the eyes. Count a slow 2 when a smile appears and check if the eyes warm with it. Then mirror a calm nod and hold your frame. If the mouth smiles while the eyes stay cold, shift back an inch, change the topic with a light question, and let the truth reveal itself in the next flicker while you stay composed. Up next is reading body movements. The hands, the lean, and the pause before a step will confirm what the face tried to hide. Skip the next part and you keep buying polished sentences while the body sells truth to someone else. Stay, and you will learn how movement makes desire visible without a word. 3. Reading body movements. The body speaks before the mouth gets a vote. The way she stands tells more than what she says. The lean that reaches for you is interest. The lean that retreats is risk management. Feet that point toward the exit do not lie. In 10 seconds, movement announces value. Men who try to reason with words argue with a verdict that the body already gave. Marcus is 29, a software engineer in Denver. First meeting at a climbing gym cafe on a Saturday. Chalk drifts. They talk about travel and work. She laughs in short bursts that end fast. When he speaks, she takes a sip and sets the cup between them like a small wall. He slides his chair closer and her torso tilts away a few degrees. Her shoes stay pointed toward the hallway. He does not see that the distance grew. He fills the space with a story. She crosses her ankles, taps once, then goes still. He reaches toward a photo on her phone and her shoulder tightens before she passes it. He moves again and she steps back half a foot as if to look at the menu. She smiles, polite and narrow. When he suggests a second spot, her head nods before her feet shift back. At the exit she says, "Text me," and folds her arms on the tote bag. The verdict was early. He thought closing space creates closeness. She read the rush as pressure. When did you move closer as her feet turned to the exit? Do not sugarcoat it. I will show why closing space killed pull and how to reverse it. Machiavelli taught that power hides in the obvious that people ignore. The body is a chessboard that moves while the mouth performs theater. The lean is a piece, the step back is a shield. The idle hand is a flag. The rule is cold. If you do not read the move, you become the move. In the theater of desire, the body writes the script and the words arrive as captions. What comes next is not noise, it is the turn that happens when you notice the step before it lands. He believed that listing feelings would fix tension while she watched posture and distance and decided in the first minute. He spoke faster and chased her half-step with another story that confused effort with pull, and she measured calm with space while his steady gaze missed that her feet were already turned. She saw a man asking for closeness with his body and paying for it with his value, while he saw a polite woman and missed that her movements had already sorted him. At the next meet, place your feet where you can still see the exit and let your posture relax. When she leans in, hold your ground and allow a small pause to grow before you answer that she asked, and when she leans out, mirror the space by an inch. Then change the topic lightly while you watch whether she returns on her own. Practice this for a week and you will notice people leaning in not to hear better, but to understand what you are not giving away. Up next is interpreting hand gestures, where palms, pockets, and the still hand expose truth that the face tried to hide. Skip it, and you'll keep buying pretty sentences while the hands confess to someone else. Stay, and you will learn how to make your presence read as certainty without a single extra word. 4. Interpreting hand gestures. The room does not trust the mouth, it trusts the hands. The moment her fingers hide, the story changes. Palms that show are a bridge. Palms that vanish are a wall. Men chase words and miss the signal in plain sight. In 10 seconds, hands confess motive. If you cannot read them, you will be read by them. Noah is 32, a logistics coordinator in Seattle. Rain beads on the bookstore cafe window. She arrives with a soft smile and a paper cup. Her name is Maya. He asks how her week went. She says, busy, in a light tone, while both hands stay under the table. He shares a small win from work. She nods, then folds a napkin into tight squares and stacks them by the spoon. When he leans closer, her thumbs tuck into her sleeves, arms disappear. She says she loves how calm he is. The cup rises, so the lid sits between their faces like a small shield. He jokes about planning a day trip. Her fingers circle the lid and tighten. She says we should see how things go and presses the cup down with palms flat. The moment hangs. When he reaches to show a photo, her hand retreats to the tote strap. She smiles, then hides her hands in the sweater again. At the door, she gives a quick side hug with fingers only and says, "Text me later." Rain finally stops. So does the illusion. He thought warmth lived in words. She measured safety with the hands. When stress spikes, do your fingers drum or hide? Hold still for 10 seconds and let presence speak. Type one word now and I will give you the grip that reads as certainty. Machiavelli taught that power hides inside appearances that people call harmless. Hands are treaty flags. Open palms invite exchange. Palms that turn down impose a frame. Hands that vanish say the negotiation is over. The rule is simple. If you cannot see the hands, you are not inside the deal. In the theater of desire, the mouth performs while the hands sign the contract. In 30 seconds, you will see how one change in your hands turns presence into power without a single extra word. Look closer. He over-explains because uncertainty scares him and his fingers drum when he speaks. She watches the drumming and files him under comfort rather than edge. He leans in with theories while her palms settle on objects that create a quiet wall. He believed that kindness proves value. She believed that control proves value. Respect dies where the fingers tighten and the palms hide. Here is the move. Keep your hands visible at chest level with relaxed fingers. Rest one forearm on the table and allow your palms to face slightly up when you speak, then turn them down for a clear close. Do not touch your face. Do not shield your mouth with a cup. When you feel the pull to pitch a plan, slow your breath and let your hands go still. If that feels risky, remember that risk is the price of presence. And the next part will show you how space makes your calm read as strength. You have been perpetually skipping it and understanding personal space. The inches between bodies tell the story that words avoid. Skip it and you keep buying nice sentences while distance writes the truth for someone else. Stay and learn how space turns mystery into leverage that turns interest into pursuit. 5. Understanding personal space. Closeness is not connection. The inch you chase becomes a price tag on your value. The moment you step in before she invites you, she stops leaning in. That message left on scene already told you, space is not empty. Space is a verdict. When you rush to fill it, you confess need, and need kills desire. Jared is 35, an account executive in Chicago. Sunday afternoon at the Art Museum, a quiet gallery of blue landscapes. He meets Lily by the bench. She smiles, then stands at an angle that keeps a slim triangle of air between them. He closes that triangle without thinking. Her shoulder turns a few degrees to the painting. Her tote slides to hang between their hips. He tells a story about a client and takes a small step closer. She softens her voice and answers with 2 words that end fast. He laughs to keep things light and drifts closer again. She steps back as if to see the brushwork better. He does not see the retreat. He fills the new space with more words. She chooses the end seat of the bench and places her scarf beside her like a small border. He sits too near. Her knee angles away. He leans in to show a photo and she leans out, then points to the exit and says we should check the next room. Her eyes warm at the distance. His chest cools at the hint. At the elevator, she says, "Text me." She smiles, with the kind that is polite and final. He walks out feeling confused because nothing was unkind. The verdict lived in inches. He thought proximity was connection. She thought proximity was pressure. If you could text your past self before the museum bench, what would you say? Be ruthless. I will rewrite it in a Machiavellian line you can use. Machiavelli taught that power hides in the obvious that people ignore. Space is a tool. The one who decides the distance decides the story. Presence, used with restraint, becomes scarcity, and scarcity writes value. The man who guards his inches guards his price. In the theater of desire, the frame is not a sentence. The frame is where the bodies stand. In 30 seconds, you will see how a 2-inch shift can flip the frame and turn quiet into a signal that pulls. He stands close to solve doubt and loses shape inside her comfort. She gives warmth at range and tests for gravity that does not chase. He believes that moving closer will prove care and that more presence will make her feel safe. She reads the rush as surrender and files him under easy. He keeps explaining feelings while the room measures him by posture and distance, not by paragraphs. Respect leaks out through inches he gives away for free. Here is the move. When you meet, square your feet, hold a relaxed posture and keep one forearm free so that your hands are visible without fidget. Let her set the first inch. If she leans in, hold your ground for a beat and answer slow. If she leans out, match by an inch and change the topic lightly. If that feels risky, breathe once and remember that calm space creates pull. The next part will give you the voice pattern that locks this in. Up next is first lines and tone of voice. The first 7 words and the rhythm that follows decide if space reads as strength or as coldness. Skip the next part and inches will keep turning into excuses. Stay, and silence will start doing the chasing for you. 6. First lines and tone of voice. Your first sentence buys or sells your value. The wrong 7 words hand the frame away before she decides anything. A bright voice that rises at the end sounds like a question that asks for permission. A steady voice that lands like a period sounds like a choice. She hears price before she learns your name. The bill is your tone. Caleb is 31, a field engineer from Phoenix. He meets Ivy after work in a quiet hotel lobby near the desert freeway. Soft lamps, a water wall, low music. He arrives early and rehearses lines. She walks in with an easy hello and a still gaze. He fires first. "Hey, thanks for making time. I know you are busy. We can do whatever you want." The words try to show care. The melody gives away need. His pitch lifts at the end of each line. He leans forward before she sits, and her shoulder turns a few degrees. She sets her toe on the arm of the chair that builds a border. He asks how her day was with an upward tone that sounds like a plea. She says busy and lets the word fall flat. Silence lands. He breaks it with a fast list of options. The pitch keeps rising like a question. Her hands fold around the glass that becomes a shield. When he asks about next week, his voice rises again, and her eyelids tighten for a beat before she says, maybe. Her eyes warm when he finally stops to sip water. He misses it and fills the gap with a promise that he can drive anywhere. She checks her phone and says she has an early morning. At the door, she smiles, with lips only, and says, "Text me." The verdict arrived in the first line. The rest of the night only confirmed it. This week, what boundary will your voice set in the first 7 words? Commit now. I will give you a 2-word opener and a cadence you can trust. Machiavelli taught that power moves through appearances, that people forget to test. Voice is armor or surrender. A rising tone turns statements into bids. A low and slow cadence turns plain words into a frame. Speak as a decision and you become the reference. Speak as a request and you become an option. In the theater of desire, the first sound sets the march. In 30 seconds, I will show a 2-word opener and a 5-beat tone that flips the frame and turns calm into pull. He thought warmth lived inside speed and softness. She heard a search for permission and she stepped into comfort, not desire. He trusted content and ignored cadence, while her brain judged the ending note of each line. He offered access with chatter and she priced him by tone. Here is the move. Start with her name, then pause. Use a calm hello or good to see you that lands down, not up. Speak the first sentence in one breath that is no longer than 10 words. Then let silence weight the room. If worry rises, slow the next line and end it like a period. The next part will lock this in with a simple protocol you can run in real time. Next is the conclusion that fuses eyes, microexpressions, hands, space, and tone into one rule you can run in 10 seconds. Miss it and you keep guessing while others read you first. This is where everything comes full circle and your calm begins to lead. What you learned was not tricks. It was a way to take back the frame in the first 10 seconds. Eyes set the frame, that micro-expressions reveal the truth, that hands sign the contract, that space writes the price, and that tone collects the bill. Less push equals more pull. Less noise equals more control. This is not about being cold. It is about being clear. You do not need to chase to be chosen. You do not need to talk to be remembered. You place respect on yourself first, and the room adjusts. Andre is a 36-year-old firefighter in Dallas. He wrote to us last week. He said first dates used to feel like interviews, that he stared too long, that he talked fast, that he sat too close. After watching this series, he ran the 10-second protocol. 2-count eye contact, that soft smile in the eyes, that open palms above the table, that 1 inch of space. He would not give away that low-ending tone. On his 3rd date with Nina by a taco truck, he held steady. She leaned in first and asked about his weekend. He told us one line that you should keep. When I stopped pushing, I started pulling. You could be next. Subscribe now because the shift starts quietly and then it changes everything.